The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, launched multiple indicator cluster surveys in 1995 to monitor the status of children around the world. UNICEF's most recent education fact sheet and public statements about the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is still worrisome. Tonight, Babajide Oguso, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is right here to share more insights from these recent statistics on Nigeria's out-of-school children. Babajide, great to have you again on the News at 10.
Good evening, today.
All right, so we're talking about out-of-school children. So how many indeed are out of school, and which level of education has the highest number of out-of-school children in the country, even as we speak?
There are several ways to look at it, but there are three ways I'd like to discuss this. The first is looking straight at the numbers, 18 million. 18 million Nigerian children that should be in school are out of school. That's the first way to look at it. The second way to look at it is to understand what 18 million really means. 18 million is the equivalent population of Chad Republic. In simple terms, we have an out-of-school children population that is the equivalent of a country. Netherlands, their population is not even up to the population of Nigeria's out-of-school children. So that is one way to understand it. Now, but perhaps the third and final way is beyond the 18 million out-of-school children, we need to ask ourselves, Ayotunde, where are these out-of-school children located? And so I'd like us to take a critical look at the data, because the data from this recent report from UNICEF allows us to clearly understand what is going on. 18 million out-of-school children, Ayotunde. However, the facts from UNICEF shows that 85%, you heard me right, 85% of Nigeria's out-of-school children are located in the northern region. 8 million out-of-school children in Nigeria's northwest, 5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria's northeast, and another 2.1 million children that should be in school that are currently out of school live in the north central. So here are the implications. If we recollect clearly, less than 2 years ago, the National Bureau of Statistics released a report on poverty, showing that yes, 132 million Nigerians were categorized as poor. However, 65% of those numbers of people that were poor lived in northern Nigeria. Now, this report is showing 85% of those who are out of school are also in northern Nigeria. So we see a very strong correlation between poverty and out-of-school children. We see a dangerous relationship between families who have low income and families who cannot send or keep their children in school.
So, which brings the next question. I mean, we've seen this report, the statistics, and we now talk about the solutions. Does the report, offer any ideas, really, in order to see how we can resolve this issue of out-of-school children?
So within this report, UNICEF makes it clear that Nigeria will still have to play the leading role. They will assist with policies and programs and the experience in other countries. But one thing they've clearly said is that we need to change our approach. What they found out are three major things, Ayotunde. The first is children are enrolling. Some children are enrolling, but they are not attending. So the first is we have an enrollment problem. Not all children are enrolling, and indeed when they enroll, they do not attend. And the third problem is we have a completion problem. So some do attend, but they never complete. So what UNICEF is saying is we need to first of all understand that we need to get more people to enroll. First, those that enroll now need to attend. And when you attend, there's a chance that you drop out. We need to make sure that these children that attend complete. So we need to look at enrollment, attendance, and completion. But one thing that is striking is if we take a look at this very important data from UNICEF on what are the families that are likely to be out of school, they make it very clear. Look at what is happening between the richest families and the poorest families. And I'll explain this data. The first line, which families are likely to be out of school? They conducted research and they realized that for the richest families, only 5% of their children are not likely to attend primary school. Look at the poorest, 58%. In simple terms, if you're a poor family, 58% of the time, your child will not attend primary school. Junior secondary school, only 6% of the richest families will their children not attend junior secondary schools. For the poorest families, 58%. Same thing for the poorest families, senior secondary school, the numbers even get worse, 68%. So what we've seen, Ayotunde, is despite whatever policies and programs and plans of the government, the data is very easy to understand. As long as the Nigerian family keeps getting poorer, the government's policies and programs to reduce the out-of-school children will be ineffective. You heard me correctly. As long as families keep getting poorer, the government's plans, policies, and programs to reduce the number of out-of-school children will keep getting worse. And so what the government now needs to do is pick up 3 documents. First is we need to have this out-of-school children numbers that the government needs to study. But because we understand that out-of-school children numbers are connected with poverty, the government also needs to look at the poverty numbers, keeping an eye on what is going on with household income. And clearly, Ayotunde, because we also know that household income is related to unemployment and employment. And so, this is important that the government doesn't just focus on out-of-school children numbers. We see that there's a link between these numbers and poverty, average household income, and we clearly know that average household income and poverty numbers are also correlated with unemployment figures. So these are the documents that the government needs to critically examine to make sure it knows what exactly is going on.
So this brings to me my next question, of course. What is there, or what plan should the government be looking at significantly in order to reduce this before the year 2027, both the federal and, of course, state governments? Is there any plan at all to reduce these numbers?
My grandfather used to tell me that for you to solve a problem, you need to understand the problem. And for you to understand the problem, you need to define the problem. In simple terms, if there are 3 words for the government to do right now, it will be use the data. Let's look at that final data, the chart of the week. The data from the United Nations funds makes it very clear. Yes, we've talked about that big number, 18 million children that are out of school. But here are the facts, and these are not Babajide Ogunsanwo's facts. These are from UNICEF. They say, Ayotunde, 65%, you heard me right, 65% of Nigeria's out of school children are Hausa and Fulani. And so we clearly need to understand that there's a cultural and religious dimension to out-of-school children. We no longer can run away from it. Those are the numbers. Out-of-school children where the head of the family are Hausa, Fulani, combined over 11 million. In simple terms, 65% of children that are out of school are Hausa, Fulani. We need to understand there's a cultural and religious dimension to out of school. But in the final analysis, let's not forget, for us to solve a problem, we need to understand this problem. Ayotunde.
Well, indeed, we'll have to understand the problem, like you rightly said, and let's hope that we get to work in no distant future. It is indeed a serious issue that we have to look in very closely. Babajide Ogunsanwo, thank you so much again for your thoughts and insights on the news at 10.